Welcome to PCE Final Frontier Podcast interview. Today we are going to welcome Maitry with us, and she's going to share her tips, strategies, and some information with us that helped her pass the PCE. She recently passed her PCE return, and her journey is very inspiring. I am pretty sure she has lots of things to share with us. So let's dive straight to that. Okay? Welcome, Maitry. Thank you for doing this for us today.
Hi, Shivangi. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I am a part of this podcast.
I know you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot of things for us. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So how do you feel?
I feel amazing. It feels like this is it. This is what I dreamed for, and it's finally happening.
Yeah, and
There's
you
still a lot more to do, but I
Mhm.
feel so far.
Yeah, and your journey, like you took the exams. We'll talk about it. Like, how did you prepare, and what you know, what were some good days, some bad days, and how
Mhm.
did you feel, and what did you do to be on the other side today? Okay, so I have few questions, and my first question is, what was like your study strategy all the way up to your exam? Like, did you have a plan? Like, no, I'll do whatever comes to my mind, or what was like something like a discipline, a strategy that worked for you?
I think in my last attempt, the first thing that I think I started with before even making a plan was to discard everything that I knew before that, because I knew that what I was doing earlier wasn't working. So I had to unlearn a lot of my patterns, habits, mindset, study habits, everything, and I had to start afresh. So that was the first step, to eliminate everything that wasn't working and just let it go. I worked with a few. I took mentorship with PCE Final Frontier. I worked with some amazing people. I talked to Ravneet also about all this, and basically we came up with a plan as to how to go about with it. So I just started with making a timetable. I wrote down all the topics that I needed to prepare for from the blueprint and all the leading topics that we have that they have shared in the live course. I made a list of the topics. I made a weakness list of topics that I personally was great at, not so good at, and needed a lot of work. So I made those lists. I analyzed my previous exams and all the mistakes that I did in those exams. What else? I'm just collecting my thoughts right now.
Well,
Um,
you said, let me bring out the question so you can have, like, you'll come up with the answer. So you did not make it in your first attempt,
mhm.
right? What is there anything you said you had to unlearn a lot of things that you did the first time, and then did you make those changes for the second attempt?
I did make those changes in the second attempt, but I think that wasn't enough for some reason. It wasn't. I wasn't fully there yet. And so the third attempt was like do or die. So I was like, no, this is not going to work. I have to still, change myself and things like that. So I changed my lifestyle a little bit, my routine, because it's not this one thing. I think I was taking it a little bit lightly earlier. I was just thinking of an exam in terms of studying and finishing all the prep, and that's it. But that's because that's what you're used to doing when you're in school, right? So that's not how the real world works, and I learned that the hard way. So I hope this helps somebody else who's on that journey. Just take it with a pinch of solved. You're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Whatever I did before, I was just thinking of studying and finishing all my reading material, doing the mock tests, and all those things. But a major part of the exam is just sitting there for 4 hours. So to build that endurance, the discipline to sit with yourself, to not change the answers, to trust your gut, and because you have to train your monkey mind. So that is a whole new ball game. It's not just limited to studying. So I did have to work a lot on my habits, the way I was eating, the way I was working out or not working out, meditation. I've been meditating all my life, but I keep falling in and out of my practice. So this was a good way for me to get back to it and things like that. So that was the main strategy, I think, just modification in your environment, your lifestyle, your thought patterns. Also, because of failing the exam before, I was a little discouraged, and it was difficult to believe that I can do it, because I graduated in 2019, which is a long time ago. And I felt that, just imposter syndrome, right? You feel like you still don't know much, you don't know enough, all those things. So to be able to sit with those thoughts and feelings, it took some time and patience, a lot of compassion.
Okay. And were you meditating all this time while you were preparing for exam, working out all this time while you were still preparing for exam? So that kind of helped you, right? Like that was like a
Yes.
bit buffer from studying. You would not recommend just study.
No, not at all. Because your brain needs oxygen. That's the main thing. Even if you study, the thing that most students get confused is when they think of studying as a task, it becomes you study the whole day. That doesn't make you productive, or that doesn't help you with retaining all that information. You're just at your books for 10 hours a day, but that doesn't mean anything if it's not going inside, or if you're not able to reproduce that information
Yeah.
into your mock exams, right? So I think that's where, and that was one thing that I did different from my first and second attempt: meditation and exercise.
So you did not do it during the first
No,
attempt?
no, I just took it
Oh,
lightly. I was like, oh,
wow.
you know, I don't think that's gonna help. I'm just gonna stick to what's working for me, and that's it.
Of
But
course. And it worked,
it
So
worked, yeah.
lots of like lifestyle changes, eating
Yes.
healthy, sleeping enough,
Yeah.
eating, working out, meditation, some things to calm your brain and not just studying works. So,
True.
wow, that's really good.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Which would you say, which method was the most effective? Like when you were preparing for exam, did you do a lot of like cheat sheets, drawings, writings?
I am a person of I'm a very kinesthetic kind of a learner more than visual. So I think for me it really makes more sense to me when I make my own notes, when I write it down. So I have my notes from when I was in bachelor's program, right? So I have those notes still with me. So I used my notes. I made a lot of new notes from the lectures, from the live course module, everything. So making your own notes definitely helps. I know not everybody is a fan of that, and when we are preparing for an exam, not just for school, even for this, I think we often borrow notes from each other, but I think that doesn't really work all the time, because I know what I wrote. So when I'm writing, I'm building new connections in my brain. It's connecting that information that I see, it's connecting it to what I'm writing, and that reinforces those patterns. But when you look at somebody else's notes, I'm sure you're getting the information, but it doesn't stimulate
It's
your
a
brain.
visual, it becomes a visual thing,
It
right? It
becomes a
becomes a visual
visual.
feedback. So, yeah.
Exactly. So I think making your own notes is definitely a lot better. That was one big. I made flashcards, I made some flow charts, I had cheat sheets. Like, for example, just a simple example, I made those index cards you get at a dollar store or whatever. I got those, and I would have um capsular pattern for all the joints in just one card, so that way it's good for you to review, or even during your mock exams when you're just because this is a really easy topic, capsular pattern, range of motion. Those are so simple, but sometimes you can still make mistakes, and then, like, so I think that just helps to constantly look at it again and again. It even though you're
It
just looking for
reinforces.
elbow,
Yeah.
you'll look at the other joints, and it's a good reminder, right? So
Yeah.
all those little notes here and there, they helped. Special tests helped. I think reinforcing the information is the most important out of all the strategies. However you do it, you find your pattern. However you do it, I like to write and look at it every day, but that could be different for different people.
Okay. So
Mhm.
did you like write it and like kind of go back and read those
Yes.
notes? And okay, that's good. So it worked for you. That's the way you learned it. You retained that information. You got those connections stronger, as you said. Was there any topic or any subject that you found very challenging and you're like, oh no, this is not I cannot do this. This is not my cup of tea. And what did you do? Like, how did you overcome that fear, that domain? Like, which one was it? First, let's start with that.
For me, I think it was vestibular, because I just wouldn't get it. Like, I was reading from
It's tough.
Sullivan, and
Yeah.
it's difficult. Like, when you read it, it's not I mean, it's just a very
Complicated.
pleasant topic. Yeah, it's complicated.
You
I mean,
still don't
and
like
it's
it.
volatile. You'll forget about it, right? And
Mhm.
also because I don't have a lot of experience, clinical experience, aside from the internship that I did back in college, right? So it was kind of difficult for me to connect the dots and just read from the textbook, because it's a dry topic. So
Yeah.
I think that was the most challenging. And the other thing is all the post-surgical conditions from MSK. They're not as challenging, but they were still quite a lot to take in, because you have to remember all the joints, all the conditions, so it was just kind of too much for me.
All I can say is, I think it was because of the limited clinical practice that you had. Now that I worked for so many years and everything, vestibular feels easy.
Easy, yes.
Post-op MSK, it's very easy. Like, so I think it was that what made it challenging for you
I
is
think so,
limited clinic exposure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if not, I know, and not for you, but if anybody else, like, if you have a lot of clinical experience, then post-op MSK, vestibular, even neuro stuff, it's like it's easy when so you can relate it, like, oh, I saw someone, that's how I treated, this was the condition. So I feel for me it was like a lot of like clinical correlation helps. And I think now I feel like, vestibular is nothing. It's very easy. Like MSK, post-op, it's easy. But I understand, when I was in your shoes, I would read from the books and I'm like, oh my God, this book says after 30 days. This book says after 45 days. Which one is the correct, right? Like, when do you do what is correct? And you're like, no, why are these books telling the wrong thing? And so I understand like the confusion that it creates. And you're like, should I treat them? Not. And then you have to apply that to the exam. So you have 4 options, and out of which like the first one and second one is like they're so close, and you're like, which one is the right one? So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I understand. But okay, so it was vestibular for you, MSK post-op.
And to an extent, I think cardiopulmonary. I enjoy studying it now, but back in college, I used to hate it. And part of the reason is because I didn't understand the pathophysiology. So understanding why you see, for example, why you see crackles in this patient, just understanding that is enough to get the answer, right? So understanding everything was a big thing for me.
And I think what did you do? So but if it's like it was vestibular or post-op, let's say post-op MSK, you felt it was very difficult. What did you do? Did you do anything like different than your normal things?
I think I approached it in terms of just post-op conditions rather than because we have a habit of doing everything about hip in one day. If you're studying one joint, you study joint wise usually, right? So then I made it I didn't study joint wise, like I did the basics of joints, but when I was doing all these post-op conditions, I looked at all replacements at one time. So
Okay.
shoulder arthroplasty, hip replacement, knee replacement, and most of the information is overlapping. It's quite similar. There's only a few things that are different or peculiar for each joint. As long as you remember that, I think you can treat a patient. And just approaching it in terms of from the perspective of treating a patient, that makes a difference. I think, yeah, criteria to progress, that's an important one. So all these important things you need to know. You don't have to know word for word each and everything that's in the textbook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you working at the time you were preparing for exams?
No, I took a break from that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good. So you give enough time to like just study,
Mhm.
work out, do the things that you like. Did you have like a schedule, like, or like, okay, today, like a routine,
Mhm.
like I'm going to study for so many hours, then I'm going to go
Mhm.
work out. I'm going to go, you got personal commitments. I have to go out, meet someone, you
Mhm.
know, like, did you have a routine or a schedule set for it?
I did. I had a routine. I'm a heavy sleeper, so I need a lot of sleep. So I would usually wake up around 7 most of the days. I would eat something. I prefer slow mornings, but again, my routine is not the same as everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's maybe different. But for me, what worked was having a slow morning and then starting with the most important task of the day, getting that done in the first quarter, maybe before 12, um, lunch, and then after lunch, I would do something easy, but not too easy for me to fall asleep. So it would usually be to give you an example, I would not do ethics at that time. I would usually do questions, just reviewing questions, or sometimes even reviewing special tests because there's a whole PDF on our live course module for special tests, and I would just review that every day. I would sometimes I would start with a new topic or whatever, but that was my afternoon sort of. A few hours after lunch, I would go do my workouts, and then evening again another bout of studying before taking a break for dinner, and then I would study again for 2-3 hours after dinner. So that was kind of my routine. And I forgot, I used to actually meditate in the morning. So right after I woke up, I would do all my like spiritual routine in the morning. So
Wow.
because I feel like once that's done, I don't have to worry about it
Yeah.
throughout the day because that was one thing off my plate then.
Yeah, you have to teach me about the meditation. Like,
Mhm.
I think I need to do it. I mean, everybody should do it, but I don't think I do it, or
Yeah.
I do it enough. Like, I've tried it. The only time I can meditate is at night, and then before I know, I'm like falling asleep and stuff. So, but you can definitely tell me, like,
Yes,
share
absolutely.
some more tips and everything about it later. So, this is kind of the last question I have. So, you took 3 attempts, you made it on the other side. You've seen like ups and downs, like good days where you prepared everything, bad days you're like, no, I just want to sleep today. Especially dealing with the weather in Canada, snow,
Yeah.
freezing weather. I want
Mhm.
to say it's frozen all the time, and you don't want to get out of the bed sometimes with that
Mhm.
way. But if you have to give advice or like a tip or a quote that you really stick to for the future students that are going to prepare the exam, that are going to prepare for the exam, what would it be?
There's a bunch of things that come to my mind, but I think the biggest thing was we think of PCE or any exam, even NPT for that matter, we think of these exams as a huge task, and in our minds we make it into this big thing. We put it on a pedestal that this is it. After this, like this is a really important thing in my life, or whatever that may be, right? We put that on a pedestal and we worship it. But the thing is, the more you do that, the more you procrastinate. That happened for me quite a lot. I used to think that this is such a huge task. How will I ever do it? And that just created more distance between me and that goal. So it never felt that. It took a long time for me to realize that this is achievable. It's not something far off into the distance. So the fear is a big thing that felt really debilitating for me. I had some bad days too. I'll be honest. There were days that I couldn't get myself to study at all, and I would just waste time, or I was just procrastinating a lot. I would watch. I know that I had to study, but sometimes I would just end up wasting time on my phone or whatever, right? And that happened a lot of times. But then you just have to remind yourself what your why to do this. So that was a big thing. Journaling really helped me in that aspect. Like if you feel stuck, because your family, even though they love you, they don't understand what you're going through. So always seek friends, or like seek people who are going through this. Talk to them. Whatever difficulty you're having, talk to somebody about it, because you're not alone. So that's one big advice. If you don't feel comfortable talking to people, talk to yourself. Just write about it, or look in the mirror, talk to yourself, do something about it. I think that's one big thing. Like, don't just ignore what you're feeling. Your feelings are supposed to empower you, not make you feel weak or something. Your emotions are meant to be there for a reason. So use them wisely is what I would say. Because I was just so afraid. I can, even just thinking about it makes me feel like, it makes me shudder when I think about it. Like, I was just in a very dull place at that time. And I think just facing it helped. Like, you have to call yourself out on it. Just be like, why am I not doing it? I know it's important, but why am I not doing it? What's the actual reason for me being afraid? Is it just the test? Is it something else? Does it go deeper? Has something happened to me before? And the other thing also, just to continue on this point, is reminding myself of all my past achievements. That was one big thing that helped, because I knew that I've not the PCE, but I've done something else before. There were times that I didn't think that I could do it, but I did it. Doesn't matter how big or small the thing was, but you've definitely achieved a lot earlier, right? So just reminding yourself of that helps to shift the perspective. So my biggest advice is just to let go of the fear-based mindset.
That's awesome. And that's so true. Like, there's nothing else holding you back except yourself.
Except yourself, exactly.
You can blame it on the weather, the people around you, the workplace, but nothing's holding you back. It's just you yourself, and it's okay. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to have like very good days, very productive days. But considering the weather in Canada, I understand. I would not want to get out of the bed, but as long as you're productive sitting in the bed, that's good too. Well, thank you for sharing this inspiring journey of yours. I'm pretty sure it will be really helpful to students that are preparing for exam. And you shared some really great tips, like really good ones, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate to it. And even for us that have passed the exam, we can relate back. We understand what you've been through, and but it's really good. You pushed yourself. You made it to the other side. So
thank you.
Yeah, but thank you.
No one is going to save us. It's just us, right?
No. Yeah. Well, thank you for doing this today. Anything else would you like to share with us?
No, I think I'm good. The only I think just one little thing is talk to people. Talk to your mentors. We have an amazing team at Final Frontier. I'm sure somebody can take some time out to listen to your story, listen to your challenges, things like that. So don't waste this opportunity.
Yeah, we're always there for each other. So we'll be there, text us, call us, email us, bug us as many times as you want, but we are there. Sometimes we might get busy, sometimes you forget to reply or something. But again, just remind us. Yeah. And yeah, but thank you for joining today, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?